Welcome back everyone. Following what was hopefully their worst defeat of the season, panic has erupted among many Laker fans. However, is it really time for that, or are we simply overreacting? Don't get me wrong here, I don't blame anybody for getting upset after a near 30-point defeat to the Houston Rockets, but there definitely is more to it than the final score will tell you. We need to take into account who is available to play, why things are happening that way on the court to them, and much more before making a final conclusion. And I know people don't like to hear it, but then not to mention that we are only 8 games into an 82-game NBA season, which might be even more than that with the introduction of the new in-season tournament. But regardless, I think we can all agree that there are some problems here, and we're going to talk about them in today's video by going over 3 changes the Lakers should make going forward. And when I talk about changes, I'm not referring to their 15-man roster here. I mean, we might get to that point eventually, but nobody is making trades in early November. That simply doesn't happen. With all of that in mind though, we'll do our best to figure out their current issues and how they can fix them going forward, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later. Before we get into it though, I would genuinely appreciate it if you could take a brief moment to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But without further ado, let's dive right into it. And for change number 1, they absolutely need to improve their defensive rebounding. I don't care who's available to play, this should not be that big of an issue every time they step on the court. At this current moment, they are giving up 19.3 second chance points per game to their opponent, putting them dead last in the entire league, and nearly 2 points more per game than the 29th ranked team. Now, it obviously doesn't help that they've been playing without a number of their frontcourt players lately, including Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, and now even Anthony Davis, but not even that should make their defensive rebounding this bad. At the end of the day, it really comes down to effort. If you're not willing to put a body on your matchup when the shot goes up, then you are asking to give up an offensive rebound, which their opponents have clearly figured out about them. I mean, for the average matchup, you'll typically designate 1 or 2 players to go after offensive rebounds, but everybody else knows to get back on defense. However, that is not what teams have been doing when playing against them. Rather than having only 1 or 2 guys allowed to do that, they are routinely letting 3 or even 4 guys attack the glass, and it's obviously been working out for them too. You really can't blame it on the Lakers playing small either, which they really haven't been doing that much of up until their latest game. But even if that were the case, that's still not a good excuse. If you take a look at the teams giving up the fewest offensive rebounds per game, there are plenty of them who play way smaller than the Lakers do. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets are playing Dorian Finney-Smith at center right now in their starting lineup, and yet are currently giving up under 10 offensive rebounds per game, good enough for 4th in the entire league. Or even the Miami Heat, for example, the biggest guy they routinely play over 20 minutes per game is Bam Adebayo, who is only around 6'9", and then not to mention how often they put out 3 and sometimes even 4 guard lineups on the court. Again, it really all comes down to effort and discipline, which the Lakers quite obviously don't have enough of in regard to boxing out, but if they hope to get back on the right track here, then they will figure it out quickly. Moving on though, another big issue for them has been their 3-point shooting, or rather their lack of it. They are currently dead last in 3-point percentage, and then 29th in 3-pointers made per game. Truly awful numbers to have in the modern NBA. And if you take a look at their team, the primary issue here is that the guys taking the most 3-pointers for them are the ones who are shooting the worst. D'Lo, LeBron, and Reeves are currently their top 3 in 3-point shots attempted, but are all shooting 32% or below from beyond the arc. And no matter what way you want to look at it, you simply can't hope to win if the guys taking the most 3-point shots in your team are shooting that poorly, and especially if you're not a dominant offensive rebounding team, or if you can't make up for it on defense, neither of which they've shown the ability to do consistently. I mean, the only guys shooting at a respectable level while taking more than 10 attempts have been Christian Wood, Rui Hachimura, and Taurean Prince, and it's simply not enough for only 3 guys within your rotation to be shooting well. We kind of expected LeBron to be around this level after last season, but I for one did not expect D'Lo and Reeves to be doing this, and especially not Reeves after how well he shot during the postseason. Like I've talked about before, he really looks a bit fatigued out there, not playing the level of defense they once did, failing to get to his spots on the court on offense, and then not often having enough legs under him to find a shot, and all of that is currently hurting their team. I mean, it really did look like he was getting back on the right track, but then he unfortunately took a step back during their latest game against Houston, and that will be true for D'Angelo Russell as well. Again, we are only 8 games in here, but they really do need more production out of these two, and especially with them not having a fallback option with Gabe Vincent being hurt, along with Cam Reddish and Max Christie underperforming. But for the final quote-unquote change here, I kind of have to cheat, because there's simply no way around the fact that they need to get healthy. There is a noticeable difference between their defense with and without Jared Vanderbilt, but they look practically unrecognizable without Anthony Davis. And at this point, they are playing without their best wing defender in Jared Vanderbilt, their best smaller point of attack defender in Gabe Vincent, and then of course their defensive anchor in Anthony Davis, all of which contributed to the way they look defensively. The change they really need is for those three to be in their lineup rather than out of it, with that being especially true for Anthony Davis, who thankfully appears to be coming back sooner rather than later. I mean, he was adamant about playing on Wednesday against the Rockets, but the team apparently held him out, though I can't imagine they'll continue with how poorly they look without him. And then for Vanderbilt and Vincent, the 2-week evaluation deadline for Vanderbilt is tomorrow, November 10th, and then the 2-week point for Vincent will be next Thursday, November 16th. Now, that unfortunately does not mean that they will be returning on that date, but it does mean that we will, or rather should, get an update on them at that point, which could potentially even mean them getting cleared to return. Back during the summer, a lot of people questioned how valuable Vanderbilt was to their rotation, but I think everybody's finding out right now. There is a noticeable difference in their wing defense, and then a big difference in their rebounding ability. I mean, Taurean Prince is great when it comes to spot-up shooting ability, but he does not compare to Vanderbilt on defense, rebounding, or really anything of that nature. He didn't get much credit for it, but Vanderbilt's rebounding ability really helped them. Don't get me wrong, they are still far from being perfect, but they are significantly better with him in there compared to Prince and LeBron. I mentioned it before and I'm sure I will again, but they really need a more defensive-minded guy in there who helps rebound, especially during the regular season, and that's exactly what Vanderbilt provides them with. He'll lock down their opponent's best wing player, do a great job helping Anthony Davis secure the paint, and then even crash the boards for them too. I know he might be a bit sporadic when it comes to 3-point shooting ability, but he provides some much needed stability in regard to defense and rebounding. And then, while Gabe Vincent has not been very popular to start the year, he actually was making an impact on defense. Don't get me wrong, he definitely does need to shoot better from 3, but he did not become a part of their best rated 5-man lineup combination by accident. We do not tend to give enough credit for good defense, but I for one thought that Gabe Vincent was providing them with it, and being without him is currently hurting them right now, albeit to a lesser degree compared to AD and Vanderbilt. It's really difficult for them to have a below average defensive backcourt, while at the same time not having Vanderbilt, Anthony Davis, or even Gabe Vincent to help make up for it, and especially when that backcourt is not shooting well from 3. Again, I know we're a bit frustrated right now, but don't expect a trade to happen anytime soon, and in my opinion, they have everything they need to figure out these current problems. Not saying they'll make them perfect by any means, but many of their problems are undeniably self-inflicted, or unfortunately come down to their current health status. With all of that being said though, what do you guys think? What do you believe are their biggest problems right now? And then how would you go about fixing them? Comment your thoughts down below. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.